That's some good matcha right there. Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Jenny. Welcome to my curious little corner of the internet. Let's talk about living your life to the fullest this spring. And just like forever, but let's start this spring. I want to talk about some things I've been doing to help me feel like I'm really living my life to the fullest. Things you guys can try, things that'll just brighten your day, things that are a good part of your routine, and just really optimizing the things in your life that give you the most joy. Life is short and it is meant to be lived. So yeah, let's get into it and let's talk about it. Oh my gosh, the way this pin sits in my hair makes it look like I'm balding. Look at that. Ugh. 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 Looks like she's balding. All right, so let's take that out. This pin's not doing that, so I don't know what is going on this side of my head. Okay, everyone, maybe I'm going bald on this side of my head. Okay, you know what? And she's gonna have a bald spot. That's fine. So first off, try new hobbies, try new things, maybe things that you've always wanted to try, maybe return to old hobbies of yours. So an example of how I've done this in my life, there's a few, but horseback riding. I used to horseback ride when I was younger. I mean, when I tell you I was a horse girl through and through. I was obsessed with horses. I was like, I'm gonna live on a farm someday, yeehaw. I loved horses. And then one day I was riding a horse and it basically just kind of went buck wild. I still remember you, Banjo, and the trauma you gave me. But he kind of tried bucking me off. And it just, out of nowhere, I had this fear develop, and it was not out of nowhere. I know exactly what happened. I hadn't been afraid of horses at all. And then it kind of dawned on me that this was like a real animal that was very strong, very powerful, and they can be dangerous if you don't know your way around horses and if you're not paying attention. Or like in my case, I had this idealized kid version of horses in my head. I didn't really understand how powerful they were. So I developed the fear of horses, but I still loved them and I wanted to be around them, but I couldn't get past the fear element. And I've thought about getting back into horseback riding so many times. And a few weeks ago, I scheduled a lesson and I brought my best friend Kate for emotional support. And we did a horseback riding lesson together. And it was awesome. I loved it. It was so much fun. I weirdly didn't have the fear come up. I was very much expecting to have to like get past that nervousness. Now, I'm not saying you should necessarily do horseback riding. Maybe you should. It's fun. But if there's something that you've always kind of gravitated towards, something you've always wanted to try, maybe it's something you used to do when you were a kid, I recommend giving it another shot. Maybe it's something you've never tried. Maybe you want to get into a completely new hobby or a new activity. This is the spring of activities, okay? This is the spring of doing things. Now, I know not every activity is accessible to everybody. People have all different accessibility levels, people have different comfort levels. So it's about finding the things that you are wanting to do, you are comfortable doing, and you are able to do. Find what those things might be for you. For me, I went back to horseback riding. I'm now doing regular lessons. When I tell you my ass is so sore, I forgot about that. But as the weather is heating up, especially for people in the Northeast, you can get into water activities. I've been thinking about trying out kayaking. I used to do paddle boarding. Maybe you just want to have a beach day and go to the water. You don't even have to swim if you don't want to, but I think being by the water is really nice and very healing as we're coming out of the winter. This winter was rough, y'all. She did the business to us, okay? She did the business all over us. Winter was a tough time. Another activity that I tried doing recently was rock climbing. And part of the reason I did rock climbing and horseback riding is because I was trying to face my fears. I've been systematically trying to face my fears in life because I have grown up with a lot of anxiety and a lot of fears, and I can see how much that limits people and has limited me previously. And I never want to be someone who is limited by my fears, just because life is short and I really do want to experience what life has to offer. So I have a fear of heights, and I was like, you know what would be a great way to tackle that? rock climbing. And this was another thing that I tried out. I was, for this one, super scared my first time. Climbing that wall, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. But then you climb to the top of the wall and you really have no choice but to let go. And you're like, okay, am I about to die? Maybe. And I just like, but you gotta let go. And I safely reached the ground. My legs did become jelly, so I did collapse. But after the fear subsided for me, I was able to start having fun. I was like, wait, this is actually really fun. I get why people do this. I get why people like this. And I have since gone back rock climbing. I actually got a membership at the rock climbing gym. I'm gonna go later today when I'm done with this. After this, I got therapy, and then I got rock climbing. I'm gonna work out the mind, then I'm gonna work out the body. If you're someone who doesn't want to focus so much on physical activities, or once again, everybody has different ability levels, maybe you can't focus as much on physical activities, there are tons of hobbies that you can spend your time doing that are really fulfilling, really creative, really motivating. Something that I've been doing is I've been scrapbooking a lot. So like partially junk journaling, and then like also just scrapbooking, printing out pictures of day-to-day things, sometimes doodling little notes, sometimes just making lists of things like books I've liked or shows I've liked. Just kind of cataloging my life. Writing, poetry. Look, if you're someone who's like, I'm not a writer, don't let that stop you, okay? No one is born a writer. So just give it a shot. It's fun. It's liberating. I write personally. I did a writing-based major in college, and I write in my free time a lot. So I'll write fiction stuff and I'll write poetry. It's such a good creative outlet that I think poetry really helps you be connected to yourself. And if you're writing fiction, it's a form of escapism that isn't as escapist as like watching TV or like reading books, because you're still very involved in it. You are making the world that you're escaping into. So you are a very active participant in that. Some other hobbies that I've tried out that have been really great: crocheting, knitting. I suck at knitting. It is what it is. I am not gonna recommend watching movies or TV shows, but I will recommend reading. I personally have had kind of a confusing relationship with TV shows, where sometimes if my life's not doing so hot, I'll get very like escapist into TV shows and I'll like just binge stuff. I have been trying to consume less, because we are such a consumerist culture. I can really personally only speak to America. I live in America. And so much of our everyday life is consuming content. And I know I'm literally creating content right now. So thank you for consuming this if you're watching. But I think it's important to focus on creating. And I think we should be creating more than we are consuming. I just don't think that constantly taking in all this, whether you're on TikTok or Instagram or you're just watching TV, I don't think constantly consuming content and information and media, I just don't think it's good for our brains. Another thing to do this spring is be honest with yourself, evaluate your life, be honest with yourself with what you want from your life. So that could look like, hey, maybe I don't love the job or career I'm in right now. 10, 20, 30 years down the line, what do I want my life to look like? And sometimes imagining what you want things to look like down the line lets you know, okay, well, what steps do I need to take right now to get there? Now, I'm not saying you should do anything impulsive like quit your job with no backup plan, but I think this is something I see a lot, not just I've seen in myself, but I see a lot in people who I've worked with, people who are my friends, where we're kind of surrendered to a certain level of suffering, or sometimes it's just mediocrity. Like, oh, well, every job sucks, so you might as well do this one. It's just like this accepting a certain level of treatment, or accepting surrendering so much of your time just so you can have, money, benefits, the things that help keep us afloat. I think some of us trade off a little bit too much. So if you're someone who is really unhappy with where you're working and you feel like, hey, I don't get paid enough to do this, or even I am getting paid a lot, but is that money worth the amount of unhappiness I'm experiencing? Be honest in evaluating that. Be honest with yourself. What do you want your life to look like? Okay, 30 years from now, like what do I want my life to look like? 30 years from now, I'd like to live somewhere that's temperate year round. I'd like to be I'd like to be active, doing a lot of the activities I'm doing now, but maybe like a lot more proficient. I'd like to have more free time. I'd like to be doing a career that allows me to be creative to a certain degree. And yeah, I want free time. I know a lot of us do. I know I'm not alone in that. And it can be hard to have free time when a lot of us work 9 to 5s. And sometimes it feels like we're selling our time or we're selling ourselves for like parts just to get by. So be honest with yourself. It's hard to do, but be honest with yourself. So maybe that's a job that's not making you happy. Maybe there's something you secretly want to pursue, but you're like, oh, is that practical? Or do I really want to do that? Have an honest conversation with yourself. Maybe there's relationships in your life that aren't serving you, whether they are romantic or whether they're friendships or whether it's people in your family. One of the biggest ways to live life to its fullest potential is by being honest with yourself. Next thing I would suggest, kind of touched on this earlier, get off the damn phone. It really is the damn phone. Don't bank hours and hours and hours of your day and your life into this constant cycle of consuming content, which is something I have done before, for sure. So sometimes, even muscle memory will take over. Before you know it, you've opened your phone and your thumb has found like Instagram or TikTok. And next thing you know, as soon as you see that first video and you go to swipe up, you're about to enter a loop of just video, 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 video. And that's not how humans are supposed to exist. We are not supposed to be having that many rapid dopamine releases. There'll be a video on TikTok that's a minute long and we're speeding through it at 2 times speed because we can't watch something that's a minute long. That's no good. That's no good. Try to be away from your phone. Live your life, your real life. And that also means TV shows and movies. I think there's so many great fandoms out there and there's so many amazing fiction worlds to be a part of, but make sure you're not overdoing it. For me, I would watch so much TV that I would get de-invested in my own life. I'd be like, well, my life's not that interesting, so why do I even care about my life? Because these fictional people have a way more interesting life than me. I just am gonna live vicariously through them. And that is only as true as you make it. My life didn't feel interesting to me because I wasn't spending my time doing anything but consuming content and going to work, clocking in, clocking out. But as soon as I detached myself from all of that constant media and started exploring things in my own life, I got very much in touch with that interest again of oh no, my life is interesting. I'm interested in the things that I like to do and the things that I want to do. And I started to feel like life was worth living again. Life is worth the living. Get off your phone and go experience the world. Go be social. A lot of us also, when we're in our little social media ruts, we can get into comparison things of, oh, this person's got a cooler life than me. Oh, this person's traveling all the time. Why don't I do that? Oh, I'm such a failure. Oh, I should have done this earlier. Oh, this person's prettier. Oh, this person's XYZ. Comparison doesn't serve anybody. If you do feel like, oh, I wish I had that, don't let that be something that's negative, that's taking you down. Oh gosh, I'm lacking in some area. A lot of people who are posting online are showing you the bright spots of their life. They're showing you the high moments. And sometimes when we want our life to be different, that's not a sign that we should be dwelling on that. It's a sign that, okay, maybe I should be making a slight adjustment. Super niche example. Let's say you're watching someone and you're like, oh my gosh, they get to be creative all day. I wish I got to do that. maybe that's a sign that you should be pursuing something creative, whether that's career-wise or whether that's hobby-wise outside of your job. Maybe you take a community college class, maybe you join a pottery studio. Another thing I suggest is have an environment that you like returning to and you enjoy being at. I live in a studio apartment with my partner. It is not huge. The bedroom is the kitchen, is the living room, is the dining room. It is all the same. It is a studio apartment. You know how those work, right? It's like that. That's where you live. I try not to dwell on this like, oh, we don't have a lot of space, because there's really nothing I can do to control that. We just can't afford a lot of space. What we can afford right now is a studio apartment. So what I try to do is make it as lovely and pretty as I can. Something that I like being in, and a place that when I return to it, I'm like, yeah, like I see me written all over this place. This is my home. This is my place. So whatever that might look like for you. I'm not saying copy my style. I'm saying whatever your style is. Everybody is completely different. I have a lot of green in my house. Green is my favorite color. Maybe you could tell. Even my drink is green.
I hate Shrek, by the way.
I know that felt like a complete aside, but I just thought about him because he's green. And people always bring up Shrek to me, the movie. I don't like Shrek, okay? I'm sorry. I know that's a hot take. I know people love it. I know this is like the renaissance for Shrek. It's so gross. He makes candles out of his earwax. Anyway, that's a whole nother video. Also, I got the cup everybody gets. I got the cup everybody gets from like Anthropology. I held off for like 2 years, guys, okay? I did. But matcha just looks so cute in it. And it's got little strawberries. I can't help it. Also, I only drink decaf. I don't drink caffeine. So this is decaf matcha, which is apparently really hard to find, I've come to learn. So I have to like special order this one brand of decaf matcha. So, anyways, I really do need to stop going on tangents. The last thing I would really suggest is to express yourself. I know that sounds very vague and generic, but hear me out. Your Honor, let me explain. A lot of this could tie into hobbies, and I know not everybody is super creative, but everyone does need to express themselves. Everyone does it in different ways though. So maybe you express yourself through writing. That's a way that I express myself, is I write poetry a lot, and that helps alleviate tension or buildup. For some people, it might be singing, even if you don't feel like you are the best singer. For others, that might be decorating your space, rearranging your space, arranging flowers, playing the piano. There's a million different ways to express yourself. It might be your style, your outfits. It could be as small as wearing colorful shoes. Allowing who you are to bleed outside of yourself and your feelings and your interests, allowing them to spread almost like the world's cutest, most healthy disease, is very freeing. I grew up personally, and I'm sure a lot of people grew up feeling similarly, like I needed to hide a lot of parts of myself. I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to feel normal, and I didn't want to feel odd. I didn't want to feel weird. So if there was anything about me that felt too bright or too different or too colorful or too strange, I hid it away and I pressed it really deep down, which obviously did not lead to me being happy. No one's like, I pressed it real deep down and then it went away. No, those things surface. So whether it's an interest of yours, like maybe you nerd out over one subject in particular. Mine is dinosaurs. Someone please comment about dinosaurs. I will engage you in conversation. But maybe you nerd out about something in particular and you don't really want people to know. This relates to being honest with yourself. Express yourself, be honest with yourself, face your fears. Don't be limited. Because a lot of these things in the grand scheme, your fear of looking silly, or your, in my case, fear of horses, you'll look back and you'll wish things were different, or you will see things in perspective. And the kindest, bravest thing we can always do is put things in perspective now, in the moment that we're in, which is easier said than done. There's a quote or a saying that I like, and I'm gonna misquote it. Something about basically how life is this beautiful tapestry, and the unfortunate part of being human is that we only get to see it from the back. So we see, the back of a tapestry is all these messy bits and pieces and wires crossing over each other. But from the front, a tapestry is a beautiful, intricate design. For me, I've struggled a lot with mental health in my life. And that was something that took me a while to be honest about as well. Not just to the people around me, but even to myself. Because I viewed it as a weakness. I thought it made me a burden. And that didn't help me. It didn't help anyone, and it definitely didn't help me. There's another quote that I really like, and I don't know who said this. It's okay in your life if you don't save everybody. It's okay if you only save one person. And it's okay if that person is yourself. I know that might sound kind of corny. And you know what? I don't give a damn, because it's sweet. Basically, take care of yourself. I'm not totally sure how to wrap this up. And this has not been a very linear video. It's been abstract. I probably should have planned this out a bit more before I just started recording. Thank you for joining me today. My name is and has been Jenny. If you liked this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. If you hated this video, please don't tell me that, because it will make me sad. So just go watch another video, find somebody else. It's important to remember, by the way, that I am not some super wise life guru. I am not someone who completely has my life together. I am constantly a work in progress. I'm 27. I still am figuring out what I want to be when I grow up. This is a kind of different style video for me. Basically just following my life, my hobbies, my interests, my activities. So stick around for the adventure and let us adventure together in living life to the fullest. Bye guys.